Yeah. And I would like for Hollywood to catch up to the music industry. I like that artists can make an album and distribute it and get on. I know streaming is taking over. I think streaming is going to kill radio.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that it'll kill it or it'll just have to adapt.
That's what I was about to say. There's been a lot of things that's tried to kill radio, man.
Yeah.
A lot of things. They still find a way. They're like cockroaches.
Yeah. Well, and like iHeartRadio is changing the game for that because you know, you can listen to any radio show all over the world. Like I used to listen to Woody and Jim all the time. That's the Nashville radio station.
Right.
And when I moved to Lexington, we didn't have Woody and Jim anymore. There's Dave and Jimmy, and they're fine. They're great.
Right.
But I just missed, that Woody and Jim in the morning.
I listen to Woody and Jim. I do.
Oh yeah, and
Gender Wars.
Oh yeah, Gender Wars. Yeah. So like, so with iHeartRadio, I don't have to. You guys are an hour behind, so right. I don't have to wake up an hour or an hour late to listen to the show. I can just catch it anytime I want because it's on the internet through the app. And so I think eventually we're going to lose the radio stations. And streaming is just going to become the it thing because on streaming, they don't seem to play the same song every 30 minutes.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It gives you a little more freedom.
A lot of freedom.
Yeah.
And playlists are becoming a big thing. Like, there are curators that are taking over the globe and labels are spending a fortune to get their new single in these playlists because so many people subscribe to the playlist.
Yep.
And I think that we're seeing the beginning of the future of the end of radio because of that, and with an artist that's independent, you can make your own music, put it online. If a lot of people listen to it, it may end up on some of these playlists anyways, or you can contact them and spend some of your own money and end up on that same playlist. But with streaming, I mean, you can put it on YouTube for videos. Or you can pay to get it on Netflix or Amazon. But outside of that, there's not really an avenue for movies to make money. You could put it on stores and have people rent it, but then you got to pay for advertising and have a nice trailer. And there's a lot of extra costs that go into that. And we don't really have that streaming service where I could just make a movie on my own and then throw it on this popular streaming service and get paid per play, outside of YouTube. It just doesn't exist yet. And I think it's getting there. Streaming is taking over everything. And I just don't think we're there yet.
Make a bootleg.
What do you mean?
That's how Tyler Perry did.
Well, yeah, but he still did that in that day where hard copies and handing out hard copies and it worked for him. And that's a wonderful story, the Tyler Perry success. But it's a very difficult path to take. And anyone can take it, and you can take it. I could take it, but there's a lot of money that's got to go out in order to get that chance.
Yeah. I remember when I first got back here, man. And man, I was connecting with different musicians and stuff like early on, like when I first, like a lot of the people that I knew from before I left and found out they were making records and stuff like that. And then, so I'm connecting with different musicians and different artists and things of that nature. And back then, like CDs were still heavy. And these guys will pull out these CDs, man, and they looked so wonderful. Like they were very well manufactured. And spending a lot of money and not really selling a whole lot of records. And I just couldn't for the life of me understand why they would put so much cost into. And then they would tell me that people don't respect it if it doesn't look a certain way. and I never got that part. And I guess when in Rome, you do as the Romans do. So, but you know, we never really spent a ton of money on. Well, Evolution spent a ton of money on manufacturing. For that first project, they spent a fortune. The 8-page booklet and all of that. It was insane. But I've never been one to want to just spend a ton of money in manufacturing. My motto has always been, if they won't give you a job, create one. So I'll get the equipment necessary to make the CDs as opposed to like wanting to send them off to get manufactured. So then we can do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again as needed or whatever the case. Cut the cost.
Well, and that kind of goes back to what you said about when in Rome. I'd never heard of a mixtape until I met you.
Really?
Like in Colombia, nobody does mixtapes. What are you talking about? Like New York and Atlanta and LA, like mixtapes were huge because there's millions of people out walking around and they can just hand out their CDs and whatnot, and that was like common practice. But here, the internet wasn't really as what it is today. So what's a mixtape? Like you have a disc that you made at home and you scribbled on it with a Sharpie. This looks like crap. Why would I want this?
That's literally was the game.
Yeah, exactly. You go to the store and you buy a disc in the store and it's got this cool, like, especially if it was one of those cardboard ones that was all together and it'd fold out. You'd have this, what looked like a little poster with a disc in it. And you're like, wow, this is awesome. And then, Joe Blow standing outside with a Sharpie disc. Like, I don't want that.
I remember DJ Who Kid, man. He would put out his mixtapes in New York, and his covers would look like somebody literally drew them. Like hand drew them. And now he's like Eminem's DJ. But his shit looks so crazy on the streets. And it be cats on the corner like, who kid? Who kid? And every once a month, these DJs would put these mixtapes together. And then the cats would hit the corners like it was crack. You know what I mean? That's how they got it. And I get here and shit, you'd have thought they had a deal with Polygram the way these CDs was looking, man. I was like, whoa, they shrink wrapped and everything. Got barcodes and shit. I'm like, damn, where you selling these at?
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Yeah, I mean that's what we expected because we didn't that it wasn't normal to see that kind of stuff.
Wow. So but we never really followed suit, boss. You and I, we just kind of always did this shit ourselves.
Right.
In one regard or another, we just we can make it that size. What size is it? Oh, we can square it off that size.
Right.
Why pay?
Right. Well, what's cool now is you don't even need hard copies because my car doesn't even have a CD player in it. I couldn't play it. If I walked out of a store and some guy was out there like, hey, man, check out my album. You mean I got to go home and put this in my computer? I don't want to do that. You online? I can just pull it up on my phone.
Yep. And that kind of goes back to the EPK too. Now you just go to my Instagram or go to my Facebook or go to my Snapchat or whatever. You don't
TikTok.
You know what I mean? You don't even need a EPK anymore. But yet you still got companies that still peddle that shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Get your EPK with us for $39.99 when Facebook is free.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. It's like